There are moments in life. There are moments in life when we must face an important question. Will we continue to let the noise of others shape our inner world, or choose silence and rise above the chaos? This is a message for those who are feeling tired, not physically, but exhausted from within. Tired of carrying burdens that were never theirs to bear. Tired of living in doubt, in ambiguity, in a hollow sense of emptiness. Each interaction with others feels like a drain. Sometimes, it's just a glance, a soft but sharp word, and our soul spirals into confusion. If you're wondering how to face the storms of life without becoming one yourself, the path is already here. Not through resistance, not through anger or escape, but through wisdom, awareness, and the 13 principles of inner freedom. Because in life, there are battles we cannot avoid: illness, loss, failure. But there are also quiet wars, no less dangerous, preserving peace while standing beside those who are toxic. This isn't a battle of fists, but of energy, of consciousness. Those who bring negativity are not always loud. They may smile at you, yet drain you completely with every interaction. The true danger doesn't lie in them. It lies in you, allowing it to enter your mind. So, your journey begins here, learning to guard the door of your mind. If you leave it too wide open, any wind can sweep in. Anyone can step in and plant seeds of doubt, fear, judgment. But if you know how to close it, you can protect the inner light from being shaken by outer storms. Only when we learn to be silent at the right time, to choose our words wisely, and to stay rooted in the soul, can we walk steadily through a chaotic world. Toxicity isn't always loud. In life, toxicity doesn't always arrive with shouting, crude insults, or explosive arguments. More often, it comes softly, like a wisp of smoke, a condescending glance, a sarcastic remark hidden behind a smile, a cleverly veiled criticism that somehow makes you feel smaller. These things enter without knocking. They seep quietly into your mind and plant seeds of doubt, anxiety, and insecurity. They don't say you're useless, but you leave feeling like you are. They don't say you're not enough, but you begin to question yourself. And then, you carry that energy with you all day. It weighs you down, drains you, like you've taken on something invisible and heavy. The truth is, toxic people aren't nearly as dangerous as the way you allow them to live in your mind. We're often so careful with our physical homes, locked doors, bolted windows, only letting in those we trust. But when it comes to the home within, we're far too careless. We let in every comment, every judgment. We forget that the mind also needs protection. If talking to someone makes you feel less worthy, pause and observe. Are they planting seeds of doubt in your mind? Are you holding on to their words as if they're true? That's not the truth. That's their energy, and you've unconsciously chosen to keep it. So learn this simple but powerful skill. Know how to close the door. Know how to say no. Know how to not receive. Someone may hand you bitterness, but you don't have to accept it. Someone may speak words that make you feel small, but you have the right to protect your worth. Freedom begins here, by choosing what deserves to live in your mind. And peace begins there, too. Reaction is instinct, response is wisdom. When someone hurts us, through words, a look, or their actions, our first instinct is to react, to strike back, to get angry, to defend, to argue. But have you ever noticed? Each time you react emotionally, you don't truly solve anything. You simply get pulled into their storm, where they're confused, wounded, or craving control. When you react, you lose your power. When you respond consciously, you keep it. Responding doesn't mean staying silent and enduring. It's a deliberate action. It means you're aware of what's happening inside your mind and body, and you choose to act in a way that aligns with your values, not your fleeting emotions. Think of it this way. Someone throws a stone at you. Reacting is throwing one back, but now you're both hurt. Responding means you take a step back and let the stone fall without it leaving a scratch. You remain whole. You remain free. In that moment, you feel the urge to fire back, to shout, to teach them a lesson. Pause. Just one breath can open a door to wisdom. Ask yourself, is this worth losing my peace over? Am I defending the truth, or just a wounded ego? Toxic people often throw bait to see if you'll bite. Your reaction is their victory. But when you respond with stillness, with an understanding look, with a clear word that doesn't come from anger, you've mastered not just the moment, but yourself. Wise silence can stop them in their tracks. Your peaceful energy may dissolve their anger or cause them to retreat. Remember, you don't need to react to prove your worth. You only need to be present, with wisdom, to protect the light within your soul. Not everyone deserves your energy. There's something strange about human connections. Some people only need to say a few words to make us feel lighter, at ease. While others, after just a few minutes of conversation, leave our minds heavy, confused, and unsettled. That isn't random. It's an exchange of energy, unseen but deeply felt. We often give away our energy unconsciously. We give it to meaningless arguments, to relationships that have lost respect, to explaining ourselves to people who never truly wanted to understand. And then, we're tired, drained, with nothing left for ourselves or for the ones who actually deserve us. The truth is, not everyone is worthy of your energy, time, or heart. And the sad part is, we often don't realize it until we're empty. Energy is like currency. Once spent, it doesn't come back. So learn to invest it wisely. Pay attention to how you feel after every interaction. Do I feel lighter or heavier? Am I staying because I want to or because I feel I have to? You don't need to maintain a relationship out of politeness. You don't need to please someone just to keep the peace. And you certainly don't need to give yourself to those who don't know how to value you. Peace is a choice. And that choice begins the moment you say no to what unsettles your soul. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. Many of us, especially those with big hearts, carry a deep desire to help others rise above their suffering. We try to comfort, to heal, even to carry someone else's weight, even when we ourselves are exhausted. But here is a painful and profound truth. Not everyone is ready to be helped, and not everyone wants to change. You can offer 1,000 words of advice, spend hours of emotional labor, even sacrifice your own peace. But if the other person refuses to look within, refuses to step out of their darkness, then all your effort is in vain. It's like planting seeds in barren soil. No life, no sprouting, no growth. And worse still, if you try to pull someone up who doesn't want to climb, they will pull you down. Imagine this. You're standing on a cliff's edge, trying to pull someone up from below. But they don't move, don't help, only cling to you. The harder you pull, the more drained you become. And eventually, you both fall. That's why, sometimes, letting go isn't abandonment. It's trust. Trusting that each person has their own path to growth. Trusting that they must hit bottom, stumble, fall, and rise on their own. to truly transform. You can still love them, you can still pray for them, but don't lose yourself in the process of saving someone else. Between compassion and boundaries, there must always be a line, because you deserve peace, and they deserve the chance to find their own strength. Loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. One of the hardest lessons in growing up is learning how to walk away, even when you still care, especially when the toxic person is someone close, a longtime friend, a life partner, even a family member. Love, responsibility, shared memories, all these things convince us that we must stay, that we must endure, that we should just try a little harder. But there's one truth we must find the courage to face. True love does not ask you to lose yourself. If a relationship is held together by one person trying, one person changing, one person sacrificing, that's no longer love. That's a burden. Many people stay because they think, if I leave, who will help them? If I'm not there, they'll fall apart. But the truth is, your constant presence might be what's shielding them from consequences. You've become the soft cushion that allows them to delay their growth. And in doing so, you're not helping them rise. You're enabling their dependency. A healthy love allows space for both people to grow. If only you are evolving while the other remains stagnant, or worse, continues to harm you, then it's a clear sign you need to set boundaries. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you love in the right way, without surrendering your dignity or sacrificing your inner peace. You can love someone and still choose to let go. You can care and still say no. You can pray for them from a distance that protects your well-being. Ask yourself, am I truly loving this person, or am I just afraid to lose them? Am I helping them, or trying to prove my worth? Am I being strong, or am I abandoning myself? When you choose to walk away, not because you've stopped loving them, but because you've started loving yourself, that is the deepest kind of love there is. Not every battle needs you. The more you grow, the more you'll understand. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every comment needs a response. Not every outburst requires you to put out the fire. In truth, many conflicts are energy traps. They say something hurtful, you respond. They stir up chaos, you engage. And in the end, you lose yourself in a battle you were never meant to fight. Those who live in disorder are often at home with negative emotions. They need your reaction, because when you get angry, when you argue, when you fight, you've stepped into their world. They're not looking for truth, they're looking for drama, and you become the lead character if you're not mindful. But you have a choice. You can choose not to react. You can stay silent, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. You can stay centered because you know who you are. Imagine you're standing on a bridge. The toxic person is below, shouting, provoking, challenging. You can climb down and get muddy with them, or you can stay where you are, still, observing, and let the noise pass like the wind. Real strength isn't in who shouts louder, it's in who remains calm in the storm. Remember, no one can drag you into a fight unless you step in. No one can hurt your mind unless you let them in. Creating distance isn't avoidance, it's protection. You are creating space to heal, to breathe, to keep your mind clear. It's not coldness. It's an act of deep love for yourself. And sometimes that very distance becomes the most powerful lesson you can give. That you're no longer willing to sacrifice your peace just to maintain a connection. Peace doesn't come from cleaning up the world. but from knowing what belongs in yours. Many people believe that to find stillness, they need to escape everything. Negative relationships, high-pressure jobs, tense conversations. But the truth is, you don't need to run from the world. You just need to master the world within. Chaos doesn't always come from noise. It often comes from the quiet friction, the sarcastic remarks, the unspoken expectations, the relationships that drain you without clear reason. It comes from the constant reacting, the need to defend, to explain, to please. And then you realize reaction is a form of loss. Every time you react, you fall into someone else's spiral. You trade your clarity for the need to answer back. Instead, practice the art of conscious response. Rather than reacting, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth the cost of my peace? Do I need to prove anything? Or is it enough to stay true to my values? Because not everyone who offends you deserves a response. Not everyone is ready to hear the truth. And not every truth needs to be spoken right now. Peace is a process of selection, choosing what to hold in your heart, choosing who walks beside you, and choosing what to release so your soul can rest. You don't need to win every conversation. You only need to stay anchored in yourself. Not everyone deserves your energy. Have you ever walked away from what seemed like a casual conversation, only to feel exhausted, heavy, like your life force had been drained? It wasn't the words. It was something else. An invisible pull on your energy. That energy is the soul's currency. You're spending it every day, whether you realize it or not. So the real question is, who are you spending it on? What are you giving it to? And is it giving anything back? Some people in just a few minutes of conversation can leave you feeling whole, uplifted, even empowered. Others, with just a few words, can leave behind a scratch on your spirit. The problem is, we often give too much, our time, our attention, our presence, to people who don't value it. We stay in empty conversations, in draining relationships, in loops that go nowhere, out of habit, out of politeness, or out of fear of being judged. Until one day, we're depleted, and we realize we no longer have enough left for the people who truly deserve our love, the ones who love us sincerely in return. And from that, we learn a priceless lesson. Giving is not always loving. Endurance is not always noble. To give without discernment is to abandon yourself. Start asking yourself, do I feel lighter after spending time with this person? Am I here because I want to be, or because choosing who to give your energy to is how you protect your soul's peace? Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect and self-preservation. You don't owe explanations or permission when you say no to something that hurts or wears you down. Cherish yourself and know when to say no. Only then can you maintain your calm, clarity, and energy to truly love for yourself and those truly worthy.